What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to go over every single issue that I've had after nearly 3 years of BMW 335i ownership. Got all my service records right here, and I'm going to go over everything that went wrong before tuning, after tuning. The reason I'm doing this video partly is because I'm going to be selling the car soon, but also because I made a video earlier last year where I went over all the mistakes I made when going through the whole dealership purchase process. And in that video I went over some of the issues that I've had, but I realized that I didn't go over everything. I missed some things. So I'm not making this video to scare anyone away who's interested in the 335i. I just want to inform you. I'm feeling informative today.
You don't pay that kind of money for a car and expect the wheels to crack.
Unfortunately, I wasn't doing YouTube when most of these problems happened, so I didn't get them on video or anything. With my next car, I will make sure to document everything. The first issue happened like a month after I bought the car. Me and my friends were just goofing around, burning some rubber. And then I let one of my friends drive the car, and he starts peeling out and all that. And I give him permission to do this, so I can't be mad at him. But basically he ended up blowing my rear axle. The car started making a weird ringing sound, and I couldn't like change gears or anything. I couldn't drive the car anymore. So I shut the engine off immediately, got a drivetrain malfunction, looked at the back of the car and found this piece of metal under the car and a few other chunks like this. So 1 month after owning my 335i, I was already sending it to the dealership on a tow truck. And I had a warranty, so I was hoping the warranty would cover it, but I was kind of nervous because you know, it was kind of our fault that this happened. I was thinking, man, the dealership is gonna ask how did this happen, and I didn't want to tell them like, oh yeah, we were doing burnouts and stuff, because then they might refuse to repair it. So I was like, man, I gotta think of some like fake story about how I was driving my grandma to church on a Sunday morning, going the speed limit, and then drivetrain malfunction. But fortunately didn't have to use any made up BS story because they never asked any questions. I just brought the car to them, and then they're like, yo, I can fix that. They ended up replacing my axle and differential, and that repair was covered under warranty. While my car was in the shop getting the differential axle issue resolved, I had two other issues I had them look at. One of them was squeaky brakes. The brakes made some very annoying squealing noises at very low speeds, so I had them replace all the pads. And the second issue was this very annoying rattling sound that came from behind the steering wheel. I wish I would have gotten it on video, but they had to take apart some stuff around the steering wheel and I guess re-insulate it, and both the brake issue and the rattling were also covered under warranty. The next issue I had was rattling coming from the front passenger door and the driver's door. Just very annoying rattling noises. It sounded like they were coming from the door locks almost. BMW covered this under warranty, repaired both of these, but unfortunately these would not be the last rattling interior noises I would have to deal with this car. Okay, next issue. This is kind of a big one. So I brought my car in for service. When I bought the car, it came with the service package, so they would do like oil changes, everything was all covered. And when I would take my car in for service, they would do a full inspection of the car, which was actually really nice. They would put it on a lift, and they would even like send a video to me of the technician inspecting the car and going over everything on camera. It was really nice feature to have. But when they were doing my inspection, they noticed a leak coming from the transmission seal. The funny thing is, I had my transmission seal start leaking fluid from the last two cars that I've owned, which were a B7 Audi A4 and a B9 Audi A4. Yeah, surprise, I've been an Audi driver longer than I've been a BMW driver. So this means not only do I not use my turn signals, but I also tailgate everyone. Alright, that last part was a joke. I always use my turn signals, and I've never tailgated anyone ever in my life. So on the two Audis, when I had this issue, I just had the transmission seal replaced. The repair cost me a few $100s, no big deal. Car drove fine after that. With this one though, BMW messaged me and they're like, alright, we're gonna put in a brand new transmission in your car. And I was kind of wondering, like, why would they replace the whole transmission? Like, the car shifted and drove just fine. I didn't even know that it was leaking until they found the issue. But you know, It was all covered under warranty. I don't have to pay out of pocket, got a free transmission. I'm not gonna complain. Also, I'm not a mechanic. If any of you guys watching are mechanics, do you have to replace the entire transmission when something like this happens? Because I really don't know. Okay, next issue. My heads-up display started rattling. So this is like the fourth interior rattle that I had in the car. Very annoying. Brought it to BMW. Again, covered under warranty. They like insulated it or whatever. Except now it kind of sticks up a little bit, and on a very sunny day that causes like the reflection in the windshield to be a little bit weird, and you can kind of see the heads-up display in the windshield now, which you couldn't see before. Kind of annoying, but whatever, not the end of the world. Next issue, my car started shaking a little bit or vibrating under heavy acceleration. I would feel it under my seat. Brought the car to BMW. They said that it was a bad driveline bearing, but then they ended up just replacing the entire driveline or drive shaft, whatever you call it. I think this might be related to that other differential and axle issue I had. I think it might have been caused by that and then just kind of got worse slowly over time. But either way, BMW replaced that under warranty. By the way, up until this point, my car is still completely stock. Also, I've had the car for a year and a half by the time the driveline repair was being done. My next issue happened in February 2020, and this is when I finally tuned the car for the first time. I put a BMS Stage 1 tune on it, brought the car in for regular service, and the technician noticed that the oil filter housing gasket was leaking oil. I did remove the tune before going into the dealership, but I don't think this issue was caused in any way by the tune, because completely stock 335i's have issues with leaky oil filter housings. So this repair was still done under warranty. Next issue. So at this point, I switched over to boot mode engine and transmission tune, and I made a video on this issue, which you can go check out. But basically, my coolant return line or coolant hose, whatever, burst and sprayed coolant all over the place. I don't think this issue was caused by the tune though. If you look at the ends of this coolant line, you can see that the build quality on these is just not very good. So if you have a E90 or F30, 335, whatever, I would recommend swapping out this line before it leaves you stranded somewhere. I did end up fixing this myself and not going to the dealership. And the last issue that I had with the car wasn't even technically really an issue with the car. It was my oil filter started leaking. So I brought the car to BMW thinking that it was the oil filter housing leaking again. It was actually just the oil filter itself. I've had 2 out-of-pocket repairs. These are repairs that my warranty did not end up covering. One of them was the coolant return line. This cost me $37 to fix, and honestly I could have brought the car to BMW and had them fix it under warranty, but it was leaking so much coolant. I think I would have had to get a tow truck, and the tow truck would cost me more than $37, so I just fixed this myself. The second thing I had to pay out of pocket was I had to pay $211 to BMW because I brought the car there for what I thought was a leaky oil filter housing gasket, but ended up being a filter leaking itself, and they charged me $211 to clean up oil and replace my oil filter. So that puts my total out-of-pocket repair costs at $248. So yeah, take that, Scotty Kilmer. I bought a BMW and it didn't end up being an endless money pit for me. All I'm gonna say at this point is warranties are amazing. Highly recommend getting a warranty with your car. By the way, I never had a real check engine light during my ownership of this car. The only time I had the check engine light ever go on was right after I put my new downpipe on, and the O2 sensors didn't like the new downpipe. Alright, at the beginning of this video I mentioned that I am selling the car, and this is because I want a B58 powered car. So I'm looking at either an F30 340i or an F22 240i. And unlike with this car, with that car I will make sure to document every issue I have and every part of the modification process, and I do plan on modifying the crap out of that car. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, you should subscribe to the channel.